Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. And as always, please go ahead and follow me on GitHub, visit my website, and if you have any questions, feel free to email. So let's go ahead and now in the previous video, I spoke about how to call methods, especially built-in methods. Now here, I want to go into the decision logic part of it. Now, I mentioned in the previous video that when we talk about any kind of programming, let's go ahead and get a new whiteboard here. So we are always talking about the flow of the coding. So when you start a program, you're always beginning in the main function or whatever is the startup function of your project. And from there, you kind of go in a specific sequence. And then depending on some values or condition, you go in separate ways. For example, let's say you're building a project where you're trying to upload a image to the Azure Blob storage or something. So let's try to picture that. So you are here, you reached a point, and then what you do is the user has selected a file, a image file, and now next you get the image file, and then what you do is you push this image, let's say, to Azure Blob storage. Now Azure Blob storage is a very low cost storage system for keeping files, like images, right? So you send this file, and you reach this point, and you're now sending it to Azure Blob storage. So here, so many things can go wrong, but the main thing is, okay, so the green thing, the positive thing is, okay, the file was positively uploaded, or the red thing is no, something went wrong. So if the file was successfully loaded, then you will probably give a message that says, hey, the file was successfully loaded. Okay, now if the file wasn't successfully loaded, it could be for any number of reasons. So many things can go wrong, when it goes wrong. Now then you might give a message that says that, okay, the file was not uploaded, and usually there'll be an error. The error could be there was a network connection problem, or the file format is not good, or the internet is not working, or maybe the blob storage container is full. There are so many reasons which something didn't work, right? At least, we can you'll show an error like what went wrong, so the user can decide what to do next. So this is really what happens in a lot of software. You're doing something, and then there is some user action or requirement, like here, file upload, and then you have to go ahead and push the image to the cloud. And there at least two things can happen, which is one, yes, it was very successful, or no, in which case you can try to give an error message and accordingly give some further actions for the user. So that is all that happens in software. So that is what we call decision logic. Decision logic means based on some value, you divide the flow and accordingly proceed to the next step and see what you have to do. So now here we talk about Boolean values. So let's go ahead and get Visual Studio up and running again. So let me bring it up here, and let's create a new solution. Okay, console app as always. I want to call this decision logic. One, as always, I give a suffix there, and voila, here we go. So we are talking about Boolean values, which are nothing but true and false, and this is useful in scenarios where we are trying to do something like if, else, else, if. So let's do a simple if. So I'm going to say var go ahead equals true. I created a Boolean variable, and I'm calling that go ahead, and I'm calling that to true. And here I'm going to say if go ahead is equal to true, then you can say a simple message that says, yes, you may pass. It's only if, no else if, nothing. And if I do this right now, I will get an output that says, yes, you may pass. Like the Lord of the Rings movie. Now you shall not pass. Anyway, so, but I can also add a else here, or I can chain this. So what happens is I can chain this to false. Now the Boolean is false. That means this branch will not go ahead, and there is no else. So that means there will be no output at all because I didn't put that there. So now let me add an else for it. So let's go ahead and say var number is equal to 1. And then I'm going to say if number is equal to 1, then I'm going to show a simple message that says console.writeLine, and here I'm going to say yes, the number is 1. But I want to add an else here, so decision logic. So I'm going to say else, and here I'm going to say the number is something other than 1. So I have a if and a else, two options. So either it is 1 or it is something else. So if I run this code right now, I will get the output which is 1 because the number is actually 1. Now if I go back and I change this to 2, I will get the output that says, hey, the number is something other than 1, because that's the way the if else works. Now what if we have more than one condition? Now in which case there is something called switch. I guess it'll come up in a future video, but right now we can just keep using if else for all the options. So let's do one thing. So I am going to go here and check for 2. So I'm going to say else if a number is equal to 2, and here I am going to say console.writeLine, yes, the number 2. You know, you're like the number 2 guy, you know, the guy who works for number 1, huh? Something like that. So I can add another, I can add as many as I want. So I'll add one more. So I'm going to say number equals 3, and again I can put a message that says yes, and I can keep going. You know, I can check any situation I want. So here what we have is the decision logic using if, else if, and else. So if takes care of the code when the number is 1, else if takes care of the output when the number is 2. Same thing happens with number 3. But then when none of this matches, you know, here you have to picture like a waterfall. You know, like you have the water on the top, it comes here, checks for something, then comes here, checks for something, comes here, checks for something, checks for something, checks for something. So if you find what you're looking for here, then you find it here, then you stop. But if you don't find it there, then you keep going, and you go till the end. And the last option is here. This is the else. If you did not find it anywhere else. That's really how if, else if works. You know, something switch is something you'll see in the future. So there you go. That is decision logic for you. Now there are many ways you can write your logic. Now here I'm using the equal operator. You can also use the not equal operator. So for something like this, I could say var first number is equal to 10. Oh, you can't use double equals when you're assigning values though. That's the assignment operator, and the equals the equality operator. They're two separate things. And I'm going to say var second number is equal to 10. So I can say if number not equal to number 2. Oh, sorry. It's if first number, that's why I'm telling you, when you use AI, you got to be careful. Ultimately, you are responsible for your code, not AI. First number not equal to first number, then I am going to say console.writeLine the numbers are not equal. Now this is like a reverse way of doing it. Usually you would do something like, I'm going to do that in a second. So here I'll put a else, and I'm going to say, I'm just going to copy this line here, and I'm going to say the numbers are equal. So it's like a reverse way of doing it, but there's a straightforward way of doing it. So let me just take this code, and I'm just going to make some small changes. So instead of using not equal to, I can simply use the equal operator, and I can come back and just reverse the output. So I'm going to say this is going to become equal, and this is going to be not equal. So if I run this, in both cases I'll get the same output. See, the numbers are equal, and if they become unequal, that's fine too. There it is, not equal. Same logic, but presented in a different way. So that is really the decision logic part. Let me see if there's anything else I have to cover from my sample code here. Let's see, equals boolean. Okay, let's see, else if else. Okay, what else? Boolean values, done. Yes, that's all the things I was supposed to do according to my notes here. Okay, so there you go. That is the decision logic, and there are a lot of other ways to do it. Logic operators, you also have and, for example. Let me just do one and example just for the sake of it. So here I'm going to, let's say, if okay, first number equals 10 and first second number equals 10. I'm checking to see if both numbers are 10. Then I am going to say console.writeLine and here I'm going to say both numbers are equal to 10, and if they're not, I will give a message and I am going to say both numbers are not equal to 10. So one of them might be 10, the other one might not be 10. We don't know that yet. I mean, if you really want to find out, we can write even more code for it, but that's beyond the scope of this video. So here what I'm doing is I'm using the AND operator, which checks for two conditions simultaneously, and you can check as many conditions as you want. You know, you can even go here and you can add one more condition, and you can say third number is equal to 10, and that's fine too. So I can come back here to the top and I can say third number is equal to 30, and I can check for that also. So let me make all of them 10, and I want to change this to all three numbers. There we go. And again, the output I want to change, all three numbers are not equal to 10. So if I run this now, I will get the output that says all three numbers are equal to 10. But if I make even one number not 10, yeah, there you go, I will see that the output has changed. So that's another operator. Like this, there are many more operators, but again, I want to just keep this quick one here. So there you go, folks. That is all there is to it about addition logic, especially with if else and else if, and also with some essential Boolean values and so on. So there you go, and I'll see you in the next one.